In a city that never sleeps, dreams are built from nothing and turned into empires. Welcome to the Empire State of Mind podcast, where entrepreneurs rise. Welcome, everyone. Today is a special episode. I have a special guest. His name is Jeremiah Ramirez from the Marathon Group, aka the Financial Plug. He is a financial analyst, a personal financial analyst, and he is one of my first mentors when I started this journey on going out on my own venture. So welcome, Jeremiah, and thank you for your time. I know you're super busy, and so let's just hop right into it.
Let's do it. Thank you for having me.
All right. So I met Jeremiah through listening through a podcast, the Latin Wealth podcast. And immediately I was just like drawn to your story. I was super inspired. You talked about growing up and your hardships and how you overcame all of that. And that literally made me reach out to you and be like, hey, like, how do I get financially abundant? How do I get my financial shit together? And, you gave me a few steps and you talked about, certain things on how to get there and developing a vision for yourself. And then you became my mentor. We worked together, for a short period of time. And I learned a lot of lessons. So I hope that this episode, I get to cover all the goodness that I learned from you and how I'm still inspired by you in your work
Thank
and
you.
all the things that you do. So, yeah. So, okay. One takeaway that I had from you is that I'm picking your heart. So you always told me, like, Diana, whatever you decide to do in life, whether you want to stay in your comfort zone or you want to branch out and see more of yourself and fly to the horizon, either option is going to require some effort, right? So I want you to talk a little bit more about that. And did somebody give you that advice? Because that was really good advice.
So that's something I actually live by. And I would say that nobody actually gave me that advice. It's weird. Sometimes you get like inspiration, these downloads, they call them, right? And they call it God, source, universe, whatever you call him. I call him God, right? So he gives you a download. And then really I was sitting there and I think I was looking at something on Facebook and somebody was complaining. And I was just like, damn, like life gonna be hard regardless. Like, and the person was complaining about, I think the process they were trying to go through to get this certification or something like that. And I'm like, but you're taking on hard in the beginning, right? So like your hard is already you're taking that hard on right now. And it might be hard for the next 2 to 5 years, right? That time is gonna pass anyway. So you might as well just go ahead and face whatever it is that you gotta do. Just get it out of the way. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. It is. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, say it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard. But would you rather do that or would you rather, like you said, chill, sit on your ass, really do nothing, right? And then when you get 60, 65 years old, how hard would that be when your body's tired and you're ready to retire, but you have nothing to show for it and you got to work until you die? So I would think that would be harder than the hard for 2 to 5 years, right? When you're young and you got energy and you can, do whatever it is. So that's why I tell people all the time, just choose your hard because they always complain and they'll tell me something, man, this is hard. And I'm like, okay. And being broke at 70 is harder. And they're like, "Damn." Like, yeah, it is actually, like, I can't imagine, and so I'm like, "Yeah, choose your heart." The thing is and it ain't even just about money, it's really about you and your self-development and the person. It's like, do you take the easy way out, or are you actually gonna go and tackle and run towards what's difficult for you because you wanna achieve those greater things in your life? If
Right.
not, then what do? You procrastinate and you live a life of just kinda being stuck in this holding pattern, and so you never really fully live, and so I'm challenging people, choose your heart. But take the hard now. Take the 2 to 5 years to do whatever it is, whatever your passion is, whatever you're driving for, whatever you want to be. Choose that hard now. Like, do that now, right? Because you're the youngest you'll ever be in your life today,
Right
right?
now.
So
You're right.
choose that, and then time is gonna pass anyway. Next thing you know, when you look back, you'll be so much proud of yourself, like I'm proud of you because you chose that. No, no, no. I'm telling you because you chose the hard. We had some conversations and it was some critical conversations and you chose a number of hard things to face right in front of you and you ran toward it. So
Listen, it wasn't by choice. I mean,
kudos
I
to
don't
you.
know.
Kudos to you.
Have that discipline because we're going to get into all the good things you do. But where did you develop this discipline and where did it click for you? Like, I'm going to just not look back and just do what I have to do.
That's a good question. To be honest, I'm an athlete. You guys, I'm standing up. I'm about 6'8". Okay. So I played basketball, I played football, and track, blah, 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 blah. So I was an athlete, and so I think that that helped, like, in the grand scheme of my discipline or whatever, because in sports, you gotta practice, you have to work hard to be good at the sport, right? And so what's really great about sports is that it actually teaches you life skills. And a lot of people don't realize that. So when people are like, usually when they're an athlete or they're really good in a sport, if they can ever, transpose or transfer that over to the professional world, they're usually very good in the professional world because they already have that discipline. For me, that's
Mhm.
where it came from. It was that,
Okay.
the sports. And then, I've talked about it on Latin Wealth and in some other podcasts. I didn't really have a really great upbringing. So, my parents really just they weren't the greatest of parents, but that's the card that was dealt. And that card taught me a lot because I had to learn a lot of things on my own, a lot of things that I had to experience. So I think that that's a piece of it too. It made me very independent at a very young age. And so I learned that certain things could go do them because there was nobody really there stopping me from doing those things. But I saw the results of that and I was observant. So I think all that mixed together, life experience, sports, and then just a little bit of brains, right? And you mix all that together, and that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so walk me through when you decided to transition because you were like a
Chemical
biochemist or
engineer. Chemical
chemical
engineer. Yeah.
engineer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you transferred to finance. So like, how did that happen?
So in high school, there was this economics class, and I was good in the economics class. And we used to get fake money and like trade stock or whatever, right? And I was really good at it. So I always knew that I was like good at money, and I always knew I could count, and I had a little hustle. So I kind of understood, I was good. But obviously, you want to go into a field. I'm still a part of the generation, early millennials, where it was you go to college and then you go get you get your degree and work 40 years, whatever. And
Mhm.
so that kinda won out on me, and chemical engineering was a field where I knew you're gonna make a lot of money, and so it wasn't like a passion or something like that, but it was like, I know I can go get a job and I'm gonna work well and I'm gonna be able to take care of my family. So I did that for about 13 and a half years, but the whole time I was always still just, I traded stock, I did my own thing on the side, and so I always kept that skill set up, and, probably about 7 years ago, somebody came to me and they tried to sell me product or whatever, and they were, like, just sitting there, but they were killing it. It was horrible. Like, I recognized the value in the product, but the person was doing horrible, and I was
What was
just
the
like
product?
it was a VUL. It was a variable universal life policy,
Okay. Oh,
and
so
so
it
they
was
were
an
telling me
insurance.
about it
Okay.
in the sub
I thought it was
accounts
a
and all.
vacuum cleaner for the
No, no, no,
insurance
no, 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 no.
salespeople. They're really
No,
good.
he might as well he should have been selling vacuums because he wasn't selling this good at all, and I was like, "Damn, you suck." But the product is phenomenal, and if you know me, I was definitely like, "You suck," but like, you didn't do so well on that." I literally told her like, "Bro, you need to work on your presentation." But, the product was phenomenal, and so I was
Okay.
like, "Damn," and so I'm like, "Instead of doing this with him, I think I could do better than him at presenting this stuff," and so I started getting into it. I was like I said, I was already in finance, but I started studying. And next thing I know, I said, "You know what? F it." So I just went, took my test, got licensed, and I was like, "Screw it, I'm about to." And so I literally started building up my entire financial practice based upon my colleagues and the people that I had around me, which were engineers, had some doctors, which is a great place to start. Most people don't have those type of clients, but it was
Right.
very difficult too because I was starting with the top level people, and so their questions was like a lot harder than regular people. They asking
Right.
me all kinds of questions. I'm like, damn, I don't know that right now. So, I had to go and study and actually make myself choose your hard, right? I had to choose that hard to go. I went in that direction, and here we are years later, back to the, it worked out. It actually worked out. Yeah. Got to retire early from the rat race, they call it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats. So, you started the marathon group in 2020. That's
Correct.
in the midst of the pandemic. So,
It
like,
was.
I started my travel business around that time because I was bored. So, why did you do it?
Look at
What made
that.
you start marathon group? Tell me
Um,
a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I started Marathon Group because I wanted to give other people the exact opportunity that I had and understanding how to create a business in financial services. And I think a lot of people had a misconception of what the financial industry was and that it was difficult. And for me, it didn't have to be difficult because there were steps, like practical steps that I could walk somebody through and show them how to create a business. And COVID was happening, so it was kind of like easier, honestly, because most times before pre-COVID, you had to go into an office. right? It was a lot of brick and mortar, and you had to go to this office and you make these calls, and now everything was virtual. You could literally be at your house. You just tell the kids to shut up. Be like, "Hey, shut up," and you put up the sheet behind you, or you put the the what do they
Exactly.
call it, the background up, right? And then you go to work. And so for me, it was showing people how from your house and from your computer you could make a living. Right. And there were a lot of people that were already working from home, obviously, because it was COVID. And other people started to realize that they didn't want that job anymore. I think COVID helped a lot of people to wake up to the fact and the realization that I really don't want to be there anymore. Like, why am I there? They don't value me. Like, like you had time to actually sit and think because you weren't on the go, going in. Like, you actually had hours to just sit at your house and like, I think I like this better.
Facts.
Right. And so I was handing people an opportunity in that space that they were already in to say, hey, work from your home. I'll mentor you. I'll help you start a business. And that's why I started the Marathon Group. We started off very small, and it's funny because you and I were talking, I was like, "No, things have changed, like, we've rapidly changed." So we started off, I think when we were together, I was, like, maybe about to crack 7 figures for, like, the business overall, right? And we just doubled down, really focused in on the teaching, focused on the products, making sure that we're giving our clients the best type of service we can. And now that's scaled up. We're an eight-figure business now, which is a blessing. There's multiple people, multiple offices or groups or partnerships that's all across the country. So we're blessed. And I'm happy to see people coming in and people that started off with us. Now they got their agency up and going. They got people under them that they're teaching. It's just really rewarding,
Wow.
to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you still find, like, the same passion like and how do you keep
Yeah.
that fire, to keep that drive, that momentum to
Um,
scale your business the way you have,
I find the passion in what goes on in the socioeconomic factors of today because America's hurting. If you
right?
don't think we're hurting, and I know we do really well at like covering it up, but like I'm not gonna lie, my passion maybe had waned a little bit, but then it picked back up when I started seeing what's going on. Massive amounts of people losing their jobs. They need the opportunity. Massive amount of people didn't have savings set up. They didn't understand the financial system, how to move money through various different vehicles and make money off your money. So I like my passion and just the amount of emotion that went into teaching people and filling out this whole entire industry, it picked back up again. Because look at America, it's a
Right.
need. It's like people need this information,
Yeah.
so I could say that maybe it like slowed down a little bit and then it just got picked back up. And I'm like today I'm constantly reading about different financial things that are going on, and that inspires me to come up with new products and make new partnerships and then connect people with other people. It's been a blessing.
So you provide services to not only individuals, businesses. Can you talk about who you
Sure.
serve?
Yeah, so obviously, when we first started off, we were probably more standard middle America, and we still do that. There's a group of ours, and we have people that come out. So no matter where you're at in your journey, we have someone that can obviously help you. Now, what I can say is we've elevated a little bit more. So now we have a little bit more services and full integration is what I tell people. And what I mean by that is we call ourselves as a family office. So if you walk into a consultation with us, and this is a person that's a W-2 worker, and this is a person that's a small business owner to medium-sized business owner, we're actually able to take you like turnkey and create a plan for you. And we have all the service people within our realm, right, under our umbrella. So if you need a CPA, I have CPAs, I have EAs that we have relationships. I have estate planning attorneys, right? I have real estate agents. We have people that create electronics and developers for software or any type of stuff basically that you would need, alternative investments and standard investments, ETFs. So when you walk into the Marathon Group, you can literally find whatever it is that you're looking for. We're a one-stop shop. So I could say that my demographic is maybe my clients are more like high net worth clients or whatever, but we serve everybody. And there's something literally for anybody that walks through the door. So
And I like how, like, in working with you and you guiding me, I like how you break things down very simple and you
mm,
don't judge. You have a very unique approach. Me personally, I have like a, I don't know what to call it, historically, like a strained relationship with money. And I realized that it had to do a lot with my internal state, right? And how, because I think money is just energy, right? It's just a, if you're anxious about it and you're scared about it and you're like, "Ooh, I wanna meet Jeremiah, but I'm kind of scared, I don't know what I'm talking about. You don't need to know what you're talking about because that's what he's there for. So with me, when you guided me, we started out with a simple, how much do you make? Or what are your expenses? What is your, wiggle room? And let's work with that. And then you showed me different options of where I can start and then eventually build, right? So I'm still working on it. There's going to be some, work that you still got to work on me with, but I'll get there one day. But I thought it was so inspiring because especially like Puerto Rican, like there's not a lot of
Mhm.
people like us in our space, in this space. And so I was really flattered that you were able to like make it so simple and relatable, right? So I felt totally at ease. If I had $1 million at the moment, I would have given it to you. Here, Jeremiah, do whatever you
Feel
want with it.
I feel good about that. That makes me happy. Makes me
I only
happy.
had like
That makes me
$10 a month.
Hey, you know what? That's
No, I
alright.
think it was 100. I think it
Throw
was
that 10 to 100.
but listen, you made it easy and you provided a lot of knowledge. And then you wanted me to jump on board with you. And, that'll be a podcast for another time
But yeah, that's another conversation.
or two of how I
Another
resisted,
conversation.
your inspiration and your mentorship. I was being a little stubborn, but
Okay.
I'm very proud. So tell us what is on the horizon for the marathon group and where can people find you?
Perfect. So on the horizon for the marathon group, we just probably about at the beginning of 25, we crossed over $1 billion under assets, which is a huge thing that most people don't do. It's a blessing for us to make it. We're super proud of that. So what's next for us is I said I need to make at least 10 millionaires this year. We've made 7, so I need to get to 17. So the goal for this year is to make sure that we have at least, you know, an additional 10 more people that can cross that seven-figure threshold, and get them to the place to where they're taking care of their families. Now, are we gonna do that? I'm saying that we're gonna do it. We've crushed all of our goals up to this point, so I'm pushing. This one's gonna be a little bit more difficult, so I'm pushing myself, to ensure that we make that happen, whether it's flying out, mentoring, late night calls. I mean, it is relentless, but I know that we're gonna make it. So that's what's next for us. Another 10 people that are crossing that seven-figure income for themselves and their business. And then where you can find me at Rico Ramirez 86 on Instagram is probably the best place to find me. I mean, I have a Facebook and stuff, but you're probably the best way to find me is on Instagram at Rico Ramirez 86.
And the marathongroup.net, right?
And
Your website?
marathongroup.net is the website. Yep.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Okay. So thank you, Jeremiah. I know we could talk all day
Oh,
about
we can talk
all
all day.
kinds of stuff. We could get therapeutic. We could start crying. I do appreciate you. Like I said, I know your time, is valuable.
Having me.
You're super busy. You're doing big things, and I'm glad that we were able to hop on and people get to know you and learn more
Yes.
about you and what you provide. And so, thank you once again, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, guys. Take care.
I guess.